Hola mis queridos, ¿cómo estás, mi amo Alicia? Hello my kittens, how are you? My name is Allison, and today we are playing Murder, She Wrote Part 3 of Book 2, Murder in the Maples. I'm actually pretty excited, everyone, because oh my gosh, I played ahead and I am so frustrated with this chief of police. I won't spoil it anymore, I'm so disappointed. Anywho, before we get into the game, I actually do want to give you a little bit of a warning. Technically, Murder, She Wrote is not a scary game, but it does have its moments of having certain situations and conversations where it can give the gamer or viewer psychological damage. I don't really know how to put it in details or explain it really. I guess you'll have to see it for yourself, but I know, for example, the boss of Nature's Gift Food, I've already forgot what the company is called. The rival company that is in this particular book of the game, the boss doesn't seem to have much. Well, she is professional. She is willing to put her business before her own personal emotions and all that jazz, which kind of gives off a certain message, a subliminal message, to what you stereotype to future bosses and future employers of whatever place you go to. That definitely was a thing for me as well. It changed my life. The business that my mom created, it has taught me what not to do and what to do as a business owner and a manager and an employer as well. It's a whole lot of things, and you'd be surprised. I mean, in a way, it's also because of how you're raised, which is why I've become a bit of a, how do I word it? Anal? Practical? Annoying in my videos lately, just because of how professional I'm trying to be and giving advice of businesses and the like, which I shouldn't be doing. I shouldn't be that professional. Alright, so just to let you all know, Murder, She Wrote is actually based off a TV series and also a movie as well, and I keep forgetting to find that movie so that I can watch it and check it out. Not to forget that the voice actors in this game are not the actual actors from the show, but they do try to make the voices sound a lot like them. Like Jessica Fletcher, who is acted by Angela Lansbury in the TV show, not to mention the people in Cabot Cove, which is the city that Jessica Fletcher is from, and any other characters that are in the later books in this game. And you'll see what I mean by books if you're new to this channel, new to this video. Which, that reminds me, if there is anything that does not seem familiar in this video, that is because you have not been keeping up. What are you doing watching this? Probably stuck at some point in your game, but otherwise, I suggest going through the links that are in the description box below. There's a previous video, as well as a playlist, which will have every single video that I've done so far on Murder, She Wrote, Book 2. If you want to find Book 1, that will be in a separate playlist. I might put that in the description box as well, just to let you all know how to find it. And I think that might be it. Is that everything? I think so. If not, I will try to put an annotation. I am aware that my new color for annotations does not work well with certain menu covers, I should say menu art. And that definitely does not work with this particular menu art. I'm a little disappointed, considering how many colors there are. I mean, it's a simple white, really, but there's also different shades of blues and all that. I'm just disappointed that the purple doesn't really pop. It should, but hey. Let's go ahead and get into the game, shall we? Alright, so we finished A Deadly Catch. These are the books that I'm talking about. There's 5 books in total. I like how the last book is called Final Curtain, because not only would that be about theater, I assume, but it's also the final book. I think that's pretty funny. Pretty ironic. And right now we're on Murder in the Maples. I'll be able to do a quick recap. I'll try to be as quick as I can with the recap because I know we're already so far into the video already. I have figured out the difference between timed and relaxed. With timed, you are actually put on a timer with the hidden object games. Not the mini puzzles that are inside the hidden objects, but the hidden objects in general. And it starts off with 20 minutes. And I actually did figure out what happens when you're timed out of the hidden objects. And what happens is that you are kicked out, and you have to retry the whole thing all over again. A little frustrating if you're stuck on that hidden objects puzzle, or if you just step away from the computer and you're like, oh shoot, I forgot I was playing this game. Relax, there is no timer at all. You can take it at your own pace and whatnot. That way you can figure out what's going on, how you can get through each puzzle on your own time, which is nice. Alright, so let's get into the game, shall we? And I actually really like this feature. Do you want to continue your saved game? So you can cancel in case you don't want to start this particular book. You can say no, which I assume would reset the whole thing. I don't know. I will probably create a third profile and figure out what that would do. I keep learning something new about this game every time, but we will want to continue our saved game. Alright, so I believe in our previous video, we went through a couple of chapters actually. I think... I actually don't remember where we started with the previous video, because I know it was the second video. But we did find a maple syrup bottle filled with red dye, which is kind of confusing. Why would any syrup contain red dye in it? We also found Gerald's car near the sugar house, Maria's sugar house, in fact, where he was murdered. So we had to go back to the station, go through the contents of what was found in his car. One of the items was Gerald's wallet, which contained $100 in cash, and a receipt from Stratton Mountain Coffee from 10:30 the previous nights. We also located a picture of Melanie Young. Why? I don't know. Well, we didn't know. And then when we went to that shop, we found Melanie Young. Apparently she works there as well. I think she might own the shop, actually. After some prodding, Melanie revealed that she and Gerald were having an affair, a romantic one, because I know there's also a business part of an affair. Actually, there's a whole bunch of different meanings for affair. I looked it up recently for a book that I'm writing, and I'm like, ow, wow, okay, how do I define this in the book? Anyway, she claimed that he came to the coffee shop to break it off. She had insisted he leave his wife for her and was unwilling to do so. Yeah, she gave him an ultimatum, basically. And apparently he decided to take the... Apparently he wanted to break it off instead of divorcing his wife. And the chief wanted to speak to Maria again. The chief is making some wild accusations. He is assuming way too much, which you'll find out in a little bit. But when we arrived at Maple Hill, he tried to place Maria under arrest. I don't know why. Thankfully, we were able to dissuade him, as the evidence pointing toward Maria is sketchy at best. The key we found on Gerald's body was a fit for the front door of the sugar house, which means he had no reason to break in through the window. But if Gerald didn't enter that way, who did? So we're trying to figure that out, actually. And this is our latest chapter that we just started, thanks to some phoned-in tips. I wonder who did that. Chief Ashmont and I discovered that Melanie's car was seen driving near Maple Hill at around midnight last night. It seems she still hasn't told us the entire story of what happened between her and Gerald the night he was killed, which is definitely going to be interesting when we talk to her. Stratton Mountain Coffee Shop, here we come!
Melanie, we need to have another word with you.
About what? About the part of your story that you left out.
Yeah.
The part that came after Gerald left your coffee shop the night that he was killed.
There's nothing to tell. He just left.
Then why was your car spotted in the neighborhood of Maple Hill around the time that he was killed?
Okay, after Gerald walked out, I regretted what I'd done. I went outside, but I couldn't catch him. When he drove away, I got into my car and followed him. I was surprised when he headed for Maple Hill.
What happened when he got there?
I don't know. I was driving a ways behind him, and once I got to Maria's place, I couldn't find his car anywhere. I just gave up and went home.
I think after Gerald ended things, you flew into a rage, followed him out to Maple Hill, and killed him yourself. I'm placing you under arrest for the murder of Gerald Morgan.
Hold up.
What? I could have never killed Gerald. I loved him.
Yeah.
I think Melanie is telling the truth, Chief. I mean, why would she risk being seen following Gerald in her own car in a small town where anyone could have recognized her if she intended to commit murder?
True. There's another point that she didn't...
All right, I see your point.
Excuse me. I need to help a customer.
You know what? I think what is happening in Melanie's situation is that she doesn't know all the pieces. And where is the why? There it is. Alright, so as you just now witnessed, we have to find letters for the keyboard that Jessica uses to write her books. Jessica Fletcher is an author, which I didn't explain at the beginning. But we do have to find a whole bunch of different things, as is a freaking... Ooh, there's a hammer. That hammer is way too hot to pick up. Ooh, right. Do we not? There we go. And break the bank. Boink. So what does this say? Nature's gift. Huh. Melanie, where did this envelope come from? Just before Gerald got to his car, he took a wad of cash from an envelope and threw the envelope on the ground. So what are you doing with it? I picked it up and stuck it in my pocket as I was running to my own car. I didn't even notice that it had come from Nature's Gift Foods. Okay, so I was right about the name of the company. Alright. Let's see, what else? Baguette, tea bag, doink. I know I saw the baguette right there. Okie dokie. Glasses, camera, heart, cap, croissant, travel mug, drink umbrella, yoink, gingerbread cookie, yoink, and a notebook, yoink. Yeah, woohoo!
It would seem that the $500 Gerald had came from Nature's Gift Foods.
Yep.
Let's go see if we can find out why.
Here we go. Let's hope he doesn't assume yet again. You know, it kind of reminds me, the way he's assuming things kind of reminds me of Nancy Drew. Not the game series, but the book series. Because in the book series, she actually kind of does assume quite a bit. So does her friends. They just keep that assumption until they find evidence or proof of the opposite. It's just interesting of how detectives and the police work. I don't understand it sometimes.
Hello again, Chief. Mrs. Fletcher, what can I do for you?
Ms. Marshall, when Gerald Morgan was found dead, $500 in a money clip was found by his body. I suspect that the money may have come from you.
You have no proof of that.
We may, if the serial numbers on the bills can be traced back to a delivery of cash from the bank to your office.
I will admit, in the course of my early career, I did some things I'm not exactly proud of to get ahead. Gerald was a charismatic fellow, and he charmed his way past my receptionist to get into my office. He found some papers of mine and threatened to turn them over to my boss.
Interesting.
So the $500 was a payoff.
If that's what you want to call it, yes.
I've heard enough. Joanne Marshall, I'm placing you under arrest for the murder of Gerald Morgan.
Really?
What? That's preposterous.
Oh, for pity's sake, Chief, you have to stop jumping to conclusions like this.
Yeah.
Now let's think this through. Miss Marshall, do you mind if we take another quick look around?
If you must, I have nothing to hide.
If you have nothing to hide, then how did Gerald find evidence of you to blackmail? Why? As I picked up the letter Y. Alright, where is the U? I had trouble finding the U last time. Oh, it's right there. Okay. Alright. Tweezers for this. I'm gonna save the analyzation last. The hand mirror. Headphones. Wall sockets. Silver sphere. Combination lock. Purse. Cassette recorder. Wow. Fire extinguisher. Okay, so it does change. Letter opener. Huh. Tools such as that might have been used to force open the window at the sugar house. It looks kind of pointy though. Alright, so where's this freaking ruler? Okay, it was that weird looking thing. Alright, let's analyze the handwriting. Looks like this note was written by Miss Marshall. Let's compare the handwriting on this note with the one given to Gerald. Joanne's to-do list. Wait, what did that say? Oh, I did not read the title. The Corpse Danced at Midnight by J.B. Fletcher. Oh, that's an actual book of hers. By the way, Jessica Fletcher is not a real author, although they did do a book series with her name on it. I think that's pretty cool. So what we're going to do here is find one identical pair of letters on the paper scraps. There's going to be 5 rounds of this. And what I find interesting is that you can kind of tell which ones are which. The pairs, I mean. So for instance, here, I think it's the H. Yeah. Here is the, no, it's not the N. Oh, the C. Yeah, it does change. Interesting. Yeah, it's the I. And here, look like it's the F. That was kind of obvious there. And this one, I want to say T, but there's not another T. Oh, it's the A. Yeah. It's safe to say that the handwriting on the note to Gerald does not match Joanne's handwriting. Ah.
This syrup bottle with your label on it was found near Gerald's body. Did you supply it, Ms. Marshall?
I certainly did not. And since I know you're going to ask, no, I did not put Gerald up to sabotaging Maria Olsen's sugar house.
But Maple Hill is your competition.
For now. But we're hoping to purchase it and add it to the Nature's Gift Foods family.
Oh boy.
Why would I want to irreparably damage the reputation of a business I'm hoping to acquire?
And Chief, it would seem unlikely that Ms. Marshall would send Gerald out on an ethically dubious mission when he already was collecting evidence to blackmail her with.
I guess that wouldn't make much sense.
Yeah.
Ms. Marshall, do you use red food dye in any of your products?
Sure. We use it in some of our processed maple candies.
Ah. Ooh, candy.
So it's entirely possible that Gerald took the dye for himself.
I can assure you that I had nothing to do with it. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a meeting with a supplier.
I wonder if this letter opener we found was used to force the window open at the sugar house.
Let's head back to Maple Hill and find out for sure.
Gosh dang, I'm looking at the time of the video. Alright, I think after this one we might have to stop.
I just checked and the scratch marks on...
Okay, I actually gotta mention here, I forgot to bring it up before we entered this scene. The background noise is super annoying, and if I try to lower the volume of it, it also lowers the volume of the voices. I wish there was an option of changing the volume of the sound effects and not the voices at the same time. That would have been nice, and I'm betting that's going to be an option in the sequel of the game. So I will try to do my best to silence the buzzing.
The windowsill don't match the letter opener.
Yes, the gouge marks in the wood are rounder.
Maria, do you have anything around the sugar house that would fit the description of a thin, rounded tool?
No, not that I know of. The tree bore is the closest thing.
Huh.
Chief, don't you think it's odd that the killer used a boar found inside the sugar house to kill Gerald? I mean, why search for a new tool for the murder instead of simply using the one they had to pry open the window?
There's getting to be entirely too many dead ends in this case. Let's double check and see if we missed anything here at the crime scene.
Alright, I am seriously getting annoyed with that sound. Go away. I wonder if this green fibers could have come from something the killer was wearing when they climbed through the window. Yeah. Oh, and considering we know that Gerald had left behind a red scarf, we know it can't be his. We are missing the U. Yet again. I actually had trouble finding the U. Oh, it's right there. Jeez, what the butts. Alright, so we are looking for a clock. Pine cone? Film, chess piece, which is here. Padlock. What was that? Okay, that was the scissors. Oh, there's the horseshoe. Oh, nope. Right there. Got it. Umbrella, Ella, A. There's the final. Oh, right. Yeah, there we go. Boink!
I'm just not sure what those green fibers we found on the windowsill might be from.
I have no idea. Let's head back to the station. Maybe my deputies made some progress on that dye.
Maybe. I do want to find out what kind of red dye they used in that bottle. I know we're pretty much at the end of the video though. You know what? I'm gonna risk it. I'm gonna risk it, because as far as editing goes, I think I might be able to cut this close.
Chief, I've good news and bad news.
What's the bad news?
The bills found in the money clip at the crime scene can't be traced.
Dang it.
Swell.
How about the good news?
We're just about to do the final tests on that dye in the syrup bottle found at the sugar house.
Sweet. Oh, and of course we gotta find the vials for it. Okay then. This is rather annoying. Alright, did we find all the letters? Yes, we did. Awesome. Now let's find all of the vials. Or test tubes. Whatever. Now previously, I actually had difficulty finding all of the test tubes. So hopefully this time, I know where to find all of them. So this should be a quick recovery of the puzzle. Yoink. We're still at 6. What the butts? There's one. There we go. Now we gotta analyze the dye. Test tubes from lightest to darkest by selecting pairs to swap their positions. Got it. So I'm gonna start with the darkest first, just because it's easier to tell those apart. Alright. Yeah, that was actually pretty quick.
Looks like the syrup bottle contained a dye called number 7 red.
Isn't that a dangerous one?
Now that we know the exact type of dye Gerald planned to put into Maria's sap, we need to find out where it came from. And the first place to check is Nature's Gift Foods.
Or we could simply ask Maria, because I'm betting she knows too. I would assume all syrup businesses would know what dyes to avoid, right? I mean, they would have to research on the colored dyes and if they're edible or if they're even usable. You'd be surprised how much dye is used in processed food. This is maple syrup we're talking about. Why would you want to use a colored dye for syrup? Well, let me tell you one reason. You want the flavor to match the color. If you want something of like blueberry jam, I guess, and the blueberry doesn't give off the color that it originally is, well, you have to use a bluish purple dye to get that color. At least I think it would be bluish purple. That's my opinion. Anyway, we are pretty much at the end. I'm gonna save it here so we can do our talking, our goodbye talk, conclusion, and my review. As of today, I am changing the description of my channel, because I am finally admitting that as much as I love playing these games, I am constantly reviewing them after every single video. It is because I am a freaking writer and I like to know if the stories are good enough. I mean, a lot of people don't like reading stereotypical happy-go-lucky books or even games. A lot of people avoid hidden objects games because they're easy to figure it out. And me with my disability, it's not always easy for me to figure out how simple the game is, or the story is, I should say. Although I am starting to figure it out. With Murder, She Wrote, though, because I used to watch the TV show, I am never able to figure out who the villain is until, like, the climax of the story. Which is funny because at the climax of a story, you don't really find out who the villain is. You have to wait until, like, the last 5 minutes of it, or the last 10 pages of it in a book. It's interesting how stories work. Normally, you're supposed to figure out who the villain is by the climax, which is normally complicated parts where you reach a really difficult decision in any situation, really, or even a conversation. Because, like, if I remember which movie was it that I was watching, it was some sort of green superhero that didn't have any powers like normal superheroes would. It wasn't Green Arrow. Like, he didn't know who the villain was, even though in the entire film you know who the villain is. So at the point of climax, when the villain is actually trying to face off the Green Hero, the Green Hero's like, wait. And it takes like about 5-10 minutes in his thought process to realize, oh, you're the villain. It's so frustrating when the main characters have to have a dumb mind. It's sad, which is why in a lot of my books I try to make sure that the main character is smart, but I still have to make sure that they're dumb enough that they don't know what's going on. Oy, it's difficult trying to create a unique story and not follow stereotypes. That's what I'm trying to do in my books, you know. I'm trying to create unique books that not a lot of people would read to catch their attention. I'm hoping that's what my first book will be like when it's published. Anywho, I think that's gonna be it. I've been talking quite a bit, and I gotta get going because, oh my gosh, it feels like I am behind on editing and footage and stuff like that because of what happened during the week of pet sitting and all that. So I'm trying to like rush things, make sure I have everything ready and done. Oh boy. Okay. Anyway, that's gonna be it, everyone. I love you all so much, and I hope you all enjoyed this video as much as I did. And on that note, I hope you all enjoyed this video, and if so, smash that like button like a kitten would. And if you're just now tuning into this channel, go ahead and click that ugly red subscribe button with that beautiful gray, as well as the bell icon right next to it. That will notify you of all the videos that I do, which are on Tuesdays, Thursdays, Sundays, and rarely Fridays. I hope you all have a great morning, afternoon, evening, or night, wherever you are in the world. I am Sweet Rascally Rabbit, saying goodbye. Stay awesome and stay on YouTube!